We know there have been some, let's say, unusual things that happened since the Oscars were created. Hey, it's Michael, aka Oscar Man, and I want to share some interesting and hopefully fun facts pertaining to what I'd call odd occurrences with acting Oscar nominations. I'll start with a trivia question. Has there ever been a year when all five acting nominees were Oscar winners going into the ceremony? If so, when and who were the nominees? Stay tuned for the answer a little later. What about any films where its entire cast was nominated? Well, that happened 3 times so far. In 1966, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf's entire credited cast was nominated.
Chuck.
I know these people.
Do you?
Oh.
But she was a money baggage, amongst other things. Godly money ripped from the golden teeth of the unfaithful, and she was put up with. And she was
You
put
better
up
stop,
with.
George.
Stop her!
Please
Beg,
don't.
baby.
George!
Oh, and now we get a flashback to how they got married.
No!
Yes!
Yes, I know that the Roadhouse manager and waitress, played by the film's gaffer and his wife, Frank and Agnes Flanagan, were also seen, but they were not credited. In 1972, Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine, the only credited actors in Sleuth, were nominated for Best Actor.
Please. Oh, go away.
Don't snivel.
Master, why?
I'm amazed you have to ask. I hate you. Did you really believe I'd give up my wife and jewelry to you? That I'd make myself that ridiculous? I found her.
In order not to give away too much, the film's opening credits listed fictional people playing roles that did not exist. Among them was Eve Channing, a hybrid of two characters that the film's director, Joseph L. Mankiewicz, came up with as a nod to another film he directed years before. The third film to have its entire cast nominated was 1975's Give 'Em Hell, Harry. Its star, James Whitmore, played the title role in a one-man theater performance that was videotaped for theatrical release, something that generated controversy at the time because this wasn't considered a true theatrical film.
You mean to tell me that 18 of your 20 railroad brotherhoods are willing to accept the arbitration award, but you're going to stop the railroads from running anyhow? Well, boys, if I knew you were going to tell me that, I wouldn't have asked you over here this morning. The good Lord may have built the earth in 6 days, but that surely was before labor unions. If you think I'm going to sit here and let you tie this whole damn country up, you're crazier than hell. You've got 48 hours to reach a settlement. If you don't, I'm going to take over the railroads in the name of the government. That's all, boys.
The 1997 blockbuster Titanic was one for the record books for several reasons, one of them being the only film to date where two actors were nominated for playing the same character in the same film. Of course, this has happened with two actors portraying the same character in different films, but in Titanic, Kate Winslet and Gloria Stewart were nominated for their respective performances as Rose.
Please, hello? Hello? Oh, thank God. Wait, please, I need your help. There's a man back here and wait! Hello?
This was mine. How extraordinary. And it looks the same as it did the last time I saw it. The reflection has changed a bit.
It was a nice touch when both actresses sat next to one another at the Oscar ceremony. Hopefully, they consoled one another when each went home empty-handed. In 1963, Best Picture winner Tom Jones had 3 actresses nominated in the supporting category, something that hasn't happened again since. Aside from that being unusual, I dug a little deeper and discovered that these 3 nominees, plus that year's winner, Margaret Rutherford in the VIPs, had a combined screen time that was less than that of the 5th nominee, Lilia Scala in Lilies of the Field. On a side note, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Had Patricia Neal been placed in this category, she would have easily won for her performance in HUD, leaving the Best Actress Oscar for Leslie Caron to win for The L-Shaped Room. One of the more unusual Oscar nominees was Jocelyn Lagarde, nominated for the 1966 film Hawaii. The Oscar nominee was of Polynesian descent and only spoke Tahitian and French, which necessitated her to learn her role phonetically.
I know little bit English already. How you mean it? Help my people.
Help them to know God.
And reading, too, and writing.
Writing? Ah, this is good. It is our need. In 1 month time, I learn plenty writing.
But first you must learn about God, without whose grace all writing is useless.
First, write. Then maybe I listen your God.
Lagarde was cast in the role of Queen Malama Kanakoa, a 300-pound physically imposing character who makes, to put it mildly, a grand entrance.
Mana matuto harir ame yung matuli. Aloha!
Gently, gently. Don't drop her. We'll all be massacred.
Lagarde had some acting experience in her native country, and producers cast her because she had the perfect look for the role. Her performance was considered the highlight of Hawaii, and she went on to win the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. Jocelyn Lagarde's nomination is also historic because after Hawaii, she never appeared in another film. The legendary Ethel Barrymore won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for 1944's None But the Lonely Heart. She received her third nomination for 1947's The Paradigm Case, but unless you know the backstory, this nomination seems very odd. In the only version of the film now available, Barrymore appears for only 3 minutes and 52 seconds in basically a pair of scenes where she doesn't really do all that much. Director Alfred Hitchcock's cut was nearly 3 hours long, but producer David Selznick not only edited the film by almost an hour, but also took over the production by shooting costly retakes that drove the budget to nearly as much as Gone with the Wind. After its premiere, Selznick trimmed the film again, this time down to its current running time of 114 minutes. Ethel Barrymore's best moments didn't make it into the final cut, but it was believed that Academy members saw her original performance upon the film's general release, which likely explains her Oscar nomination.
Your husband is very clever, isn't he?
Yes, I think so.
So's mine. I'm not sure that I like it.
Shall I hurry them up? They'll be kicking the good old days around all night if somebody doesn't ring a bell.
I shouldn't be telling you this, but I do so dread it when he has to take a murder trial. He comes home looking so...
Yes, I can well imagine. There must be a terrible nervous strain trying a capital charge.
Yes, that's it. That's very comforting.
Unfortunately, the original 3-hour version was reportedly destroyed in a flood, and hence why there is no restoration print available. Oh, and by the way, Barrymore's wasn't even the shortest nominated performance on record. That honor goes to Hermione Baddeley, who received a Best Supporting Actress nomination for 1959's Room at the Top. What was her screen time? How about 2 minutes, 19 seconds? Less than 2% of the entire film.
Oh, rotten chiseler, you murdering little fancy man! Are you happy now, you swine? You got rid of it nicely, didn't you?
You don't understand.
You bastard! You bastard! You dirty, filthy bastard! She was in your way, wasn't she? Get out of here, you filthy little bloodsucker! Oh, Joe, how could you do it? She loved you, Sam.
Baddeley appears in just 2 scenes, and while the nomination remains a curiosity for me, others on this channel have staunchly defended it. Do you think this very brief appearance was Oscar-worthy? Please enlighten me. I know the topic of this video is Oscar nominees, but there was an unusual coincidence which took place with 4 Oscar winners. From 1978 to 1981, the Best Supporting Actress winners all had the same initials. It's not unusual for a singer to receive an acting nomination, though this mostly happens with women. Back in 1930, Lawrence Tibbett, an American opera singer who performed at the New York Met more than 600 times, made his film debut in The Rogue Song, an MGM musical about a Russian bandit who falls in love with a princess. The film was directed by Lionel Barrymore and released with and without sound. Because the studio was concerned about the Rogue Song's limited appeal, they brought in box office stars Laurel and Hardy at the last minute to appear in episodic bits throughout the film. Unfortunately, much of the Rogue Song was lost, though a reconstructed version using the original soundtrack, along with existing footage mixed with stills, can be seen on YouTube.
How horrid of her.
Not at all.
Now, I'd give you anything you ask.
Yes,
Are you really a bandit?
yes, really a bandit.
Honest?
Honest as most.
I've always wanted to meet a real thief.
Why, do you want something stolen?
How delicious!
Lawrence Tibbett only made a handful of films following his Oscar nomination, returning to live performances on the stage and on radio. FYI, Tibbett wasn't the only opera singer Oscar nominated. Polish opera star Melissa Korczys made her American film debut in 1938's The Great Waltz, earning a Best Supporting Actress nomination for her role as Carla, an opera singer. MGM was impressed with this newcomer and planned for her to star in future films. Unfortunately, Korczys suffered a debilitating injury in a car accident and was dropped by the studio, which signaled the end of her film career. I couldn't do a video on unusual acting Oscar nominations without mentioning Barry Fitzgerald in 1944's Going My Way. Nominated for both lead and supporting actor for his performance as Father Fitzgibbon, Fitzgerald became the first and only actor to be nominated for the same performance in the same film. During the Academy's early years, there were several actors who competed against themselves for 2, or in the case of the first winner, Janet Gaynor, 3 different performances. Barry Fitzgerald did win Best Supporting Actor. Can you imagine losing an Oscar twice for the same role? And his was the first and last for that to happen, because the Academy changed the rules to no longer allow the same performance nominated more than once.
Young man, as a matter of curiosity, what made you become a priest?
As for Going My Way, it was the first film to win 6 Oscars in categories that are considered above the line: film, acting, directing, and writing, a feat that was only recently matched by Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, I know the others that you're thinking of, but they only won 5. I haven't forgotten about that trivia question I asked you about at the beginning, but before we learn whether you figured it out, I want to offer my sincere appreciation to each of you for being a part of this channel. It's fun to have an outlet with which to chat about the Oscars, especially with such knowledgeable people. After this video concludes with a message from an Oscar nominee, please click on the like button, and if you haven't yet subscribed, consider becoming a member of our friendly community and join us for a new video every week, as well as vote in the daily polls. Okay, did you guess the correct answer? It has only happened one time so far. In 2012, all 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actor were already Oscar winners. Christoph Waltz, who won his second Oscar that year for Django Unchained, previously won for Inglourious Basterds. Alan Arkin won in the same category for Little Miss Sunshine in 2006, while Robert De Niro won twice, once each in the lead and supporting categories. Philip Seymour Hoffman already had a Best Actor Oscar for 2005's Capote, and rounding out the list was Tommy Lee Jones, a supporting actor winner for 1993's The Fugitive. There were a few years where 4 of the 5 nominees were previous Oscar winners, but it's nice to see in more recent years where first-time nominees are more prevalent. Now it's your turn to share any unusual acting Oscar nominations that you recall. Let us know why they stood out for you. And until the next video, I'll leave you with this.
That'll do.